Oh my gosh, guys, so I am running a smidge late, like not horribly late, a smidge late, but I am at work so early in the morning. I had a first thing in the morning meeting, and so I'm here. I had to get out of the house at like the butt crack of dawn after getting home at like dark 30, but that's okay. It is so pretty here in the morning light. I'm gonna turn you around and just kind of show you what I'm seeing this morning as I'm walking into my meeting. Alright, sorry for the slightly funky angle, but where I was originally planning to go, the lighting wasn't good, so I found this little corner. We still have like 10 minutes after my meeting until the grounds open, so I thought we would have an alternate location for opening up our advents. So let's go ahead and start with Knotty Pine. Oh, and I meant to bring my actual knitting with me that I did last night, but I totally left it in the car. That's okay, we'll check that out later. So the colorway for this is Boot Scootin', if I'm not mistaken. And so now we have this lovely kind of like chocolatey brown sort of color. Nice and tonal, so I like the variation in that. It's a little bit of a jump from what we had yesterday, so I'm curious to see how they look lined up. Like I said, I didn't bring all of my advents from yesterday to compare, but we'll line them up later. And then let's do, I think Magpie Fibers is normally what we do next, day 3. Did I say this is day 3 of Advent? I don't know, but it's day 3. I did go ahead and do the sticker on the back. So this tells me that this is Wolf Moon on Swinky Sock. So let's take a look. What is it? What is it with the colorways this year of just going with a neutral and a slight speckle? So we've got a cream neutral background and then the barest of speckles of blue. So I guess it'll look pretty next to the purple that we've already had, but like Advents are a little boring this year, guys. Maybe I need to go back to having a hedgehog fibers with a little more color. All right, so that is hedgehog. Or not hedgehog, magpie. Which one do I normally do next? I think this one is fiber fox. And so again, this is the witching hour advent. Guys, you're kidding me, right? This one has a slight, you can barely see it, undertones of pink that have been added. And then a slightly more purpley speckle. Like, yeah. I have thoughts. Yarn's nice though. I like the composition of the actual fibers. And then our next one is our Indie Untangled box. And we're still working, oh, I had my notes on my phone. I'll put it up here, who the dyer is and what the colorway is. Oh, this is pretty. Here we go, finally some color on something. It is a very vibrant kind of purpley magenta, very tonal. The color before this was the yellow, so I'm really interested on seeing like how those two look next to each other. Oh my gosh, these bags are really small. I need to find a different solution. We'll make that a priority later today or tomorrow. I don't know. And then our last one is our Botanical Fade from Hugh Loco. And the color for this one is Wild Sumac. I do remember that one. Oh, this is fun. And so have these fun like oranges, and there's these greens and some yellows. And so I think this is going to look really nice next to that one from yesterday. If you remember, it had like the purples and the yellows and a little bit of green being brought into it. I'm super excited about this one. I have to find a good project. I think of the calendars this year, I think this one's going to be my favorite. I think this one's going to be my favorite, guys. And I don't know if I said this before, but it's actually, I got the single. I can't remember what it was called, but it was, again, the only base they had that didn't have any nylon in it. So it's 100% merino single. So soft. And I'm loving these colors. So, again, wild sumac. All right, so that is all the advents. I am going to run away to my office to get a smidge of work done, and then field trip time. All right, it's super bright, but before we go into the office, let me show you my knitting before I forget. So I really behaved myself, and I did stay up and knit last night. I was actually up until a little bit after midnight, and that also included editing Vlogmas from yesterday. But this is how much we got done. So I added in that stitch marker that we got from Naughty Pine the first day, or not stitch marker, Progress Keeper. And so that is where I had left off. And that is how much we did last night. So again, still super behind, but really happy with the progress. It is slow going just because of the yarn type and the stitch pattern and whatnot. But I'm hoping I'm getting close to being able to switch over to my next color. I think I have one more section. And in the sample shawl, it just got through that one more section and then the colors switched. So I'm hoping. And then I also switched out my stitch marker in the middle for this little turquoise one. And you can see my spine is still not super neat in this yarn. Because certainly it can't be my knitting, right? I don't know. I think once I block it, it'll be okay. Which, by the way, I showed you guys this bag before, but I've only just now started using it for like all of my crochet hooks and stuff, rather than like throwing it into my bag. Look at this. Yeah, I love this bag. It's from Miss Babs. I picked it up at a fiber festival, but love this thing. All right, now into the office. I want to spend my vacation at the library. Okay, if you know where that's from, put it down in the comments and tell me your thoughts. So I will also link a clip of it in case you don't know, because you need to know. Anyway, I am at the courthouse and I am going to pull some records. I don't have enough time. I ran late going from work and I had some pictures that I needed to print at Staples. And so I don't have time to pull all the records that I want, but there's one thing that I have got to get. And so I'm going to run in and pray that they can make me a copy of it on short notice, which it's something that's part of public record and is technically protected by the Freedom of Information Act. Like, you can have access to it. By the way, if you have not checked out the FOIA in your area, it's good to know, because there are all sorts of records and things that you can request. And it's very interesting to see how your local government actually works. So I know this is a fiber vlog and we are also in Vlogmas, but knowing your rights and standing up for yourself is so important, even though like it's terrifying to do so and you might fear retribution from the people you speak out against. But I always like to go back to that quote. It's a poem that's changed over time. I'll see if I can find like the exact wording to it and who said it, but it was written about the Holocaust and the time of all of that was going on. And it basically ends with, and by the time they came for me, there was no one left to speak up. Speak up before there's nobody left, is all I can say. So I'm gonna go in, grab my documents, and sit and write my presentation. Here we go. Oh my gosh, guys. So I just did the thing. I'm like still shaking. I went in just in time. I was running late because it took me so long to work on my presentation. You only get 3 minutes to address the board as an individual. And 3 minutes is not a lot of time, especially for somebody who feels passionate about something and also talks to people for a living. So 3 minutes, I could not get my presentation underneath. And so I like really cut it to the pertinent points. The board was really nice. Listened, nodded, encouraged, and they usually say, well, they say that they usually don't like dialogue about any sorts of like complaints or anything like that. Obviously they need to discuss, have a official position before they report out on it, things like that, which I totally understand. You want to make sure, as somebody who's speaking for a governing body, you want to make sure everyone's in agreement before you say something. So like that wasn't a surprise. That doesn't bother me like at all. But the one guy who was sitting like right in front of me, he was running the meeting. He like specifically, he's like, we don't normally do this, but you said you had some pictures, some documents. Asked me some questions about like, have you submitted your complaint before? I told him when and who received it and like what the response was. And so they did give me a few extra minutes to answer their questions, which I really, really appreciated. And they were going to make copies for everybody of the things that I submitted to them. And I left them my email address to get back in contact. And the funny part, I walk out, and I don't want to flash this information, but the reporter from the local newspaper just hands me his card as I walk out, and I lean down and whisper to him, like, I already sent you the complaint and nobody got back to me. And he's like, I know. So I'm going to send him the complaint and the write-up of what I was going to say to the board so he has all the information. I'm going to make this happen. I am going to make changes. There are changes that need to happen in this county. And on the one hand, I just want to move out and get out of here so I don't have to deal with these people anymore. But at the same time, if you know there's a problem and you do nothing about it and you walk away, you haven't helped any other people. How many other people who don't have voices, who are afraid to stand up and speak, who don't have the ability to do the research, to have the facts on their side, they don't have, if you walk away from a problem that you know is a problem, whether it impacts you or not, you are leaving so many other people open to be misused, abused, become victims of the system. And so it's so important to be active in your local government and to speak up when you see something that's not right. If you had told me this like before all of this, I would have been of the same opinion. Like, yeah, that's important. But I also think that I would not have gone out of my way to actually speak up publicly about issues. Going through all of this has just made me really realize that it is important to use your voice, and when people won't listen to what you have to say, find somebody else and keep going until you get an audience that will listen to you. So that is me on my soapbox. I am done. I am like, again, the adrenaline is running high. So I'm going to run home. I have a little bit of time. I'm going to run home, go to the bathroom because now I have to pee. I'm so sorry. It's TMI, but it's cold outside and I'm nervous and that was very stressful. So I'm going to go home, get myself back together, email these things to the guy, the newspaper guy, and then I have to head to work. But work should be fun tonight because we're going to go to a dance rehearsal. Woohoo! All right. Check in with you guys later. So after all of that running around, I am now back at work again. I got here a little bit early because I needed to pick up some stuff and I had like a time limit on it that I had to get there by. So I ended up getting here a little bit early, not super early, but a little bit early. And so I managed to get everything all set up and now I'm just waiting for staff to come in. It's super pretty in here in the dark. I knew I wasn't going to be able to work on my Advent project because the lighting, I'm like working off of a single spotlight over here and some electric candles in the chandelier. So instead I brought a hat to work on. So hopefully by the end of tonight, I'll have another one of these guys to put out on the market table in under 2 weeks. All right, I'll see you when we are all finished. I feel like whenever I talk to you guys, it's dark outside, but like I swear, I'm one of the vampire. I only come out after dark. You know how it is. So rehearsal's not over, but I'm all finished. They don't need me anymore. That's how far I got on my hat while I was sitting and watching all the pretty dancing. Guys, they're so good. I love my dance ensemble. They're all fantastic. Both as people and as dancers, so yeah, if you ever get a chance to watch an 18th century dance program or do 18th century dance, I highly recommend it. It looks really complicated, but as long as you have a partner that knows what they're doing, they can kind of drag you along, and you just go with the flow and you go where everybody else is going. So anyway, but I did do something funky with my hat. I turned it inside out to weave in my starting end, and somehow in the process I must have like tucked my yarn like through. No, I know what I did. See how it's like wrapped around, but then I couldn't get like the ball of yarn through. It was too big. But I think, hang on, maybe, oh gosh, problem solving skills. What if I accidentally turned it in the wrong direction when I... Nope, I think I just made it worse. Oh my gosh. I think I made it worse. I thought I was being so smart. Nope, that didn't do anything. I have no idea. It doesn't fit. I have no idea how I did that. A flourish and a big finish, apparently. Oh well. Alright, well, I think I'm going to stop the video here for tonight. Go home, do some editing, and hopefully get a few more rows done on my Advent project. And I'll move my stitch marker. My bag's in the way. I'll move my stitch marker so you can see how much I got done tonight after my progress that I made last night. So, see you tomorrow for day 4.